the idea of immortality that I don't really see as a theme in Dracula. We know he's been alive forever, but I feel like that's one of the really compelling things about modern vampire stories when I read them or watch them, is this idea of living forever. That I don't know if it's changed or it's just the adaptations and things that I've seen.
Well, I have a reaction to that when I'm sure we can expound on it, but I know that was really prevalent in Anne Rice. And in Anne Rice novels, it was always like, okay, Anne Rice is totally smut. Like, there's no other way to... It's all about the sex and the love and the blah, blah, blah. But, you know, you could play a drinking game while reading those novels and get really drunk if you took a shot every time that someone was like, make me a vampire, I want to be like you.
Oh my god.
And the vampire they're talking to is like, no, I can't, it's a curse. You don't want to live like I lived.
Yeah.
You know,
Vigo.
There's a vampire named Vigo who, like, his entire book is all that. Like, no, I've lived forever, I watched everyone I know die. You know,
and that comes up a lot in Buffy, the idea of people wanting to be made into vampires or people being made into vampires. Obviously, Twilight, again, as the person with the information on
make
Twilight.
Make me a vampire so I can live with you forever.
Yes, it's much more, and I think maybe it combines with the romanticized version of vampires. Is it something you want to be and you want to be with forever? And it's this kind of romantic idea of living together forever with someone.
Right. I feel like in Dracula it wasn't a big deal. It was like, yes,
I've
lived
forever.
And now I shall take over the world. Get out of my way.
Well, that was the thing. Dracula's main focus was like, I would like some minions, and I'm going to make them.
Right. That's the entire point. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the entire point of going to London, right? Is to build an undead army.
Yeah, because there's that deleted chapter. I just pushed up my nerd glasses. For real. There's a rumored deleted chapter, and that, I mean, it could actually be a real thing, that when Dracula's castle crumbled, it revealed, like, a ridiculous amount of other vampire minions. Because, like, we really just focus on the three sisters in the castle. And by we, I mean Bram Stoker. I have nothing to do with that. But yeah, when the castle crumbles, it just reveals this vampire army, pretty much, that he had.
Right.
So yeah, he goes to London to kind of rebuild that. And,
yeah.
Chip question.
Too fast for second question. I have something to add.
Okay.
Which is part of vampire mythos that, I don't know if it's covered in Dracula or not. I don't think it's touched on in Aaron's.
Go ahead.
Blah, blah, blah. But, in Fright Night, if a vampire is staked, all of the vampires that they've turned also die.
That's a Fright Night thing.
Yeah.
That's Fright Night?
That's
just
Fright
Night?
They started.
You know how zombie films make up the rules every time?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Like usually you can
They die in the
guy by
cold.
shooting him in the
They
head,
don't die in
and
the
that's
cold.
about it.
Yeah.
Let's
Shot
shot
in the
it.
head.
You can pretty much guarantee that you can kill a vampire with a stake, and no matter what mythos you're following, but everything else is like fair game. Like, you know, like if we were today going to go out and fight a vampire, I would suggest that we bring everything we can think of, because most of it's not going to work.
Including David Tennant in tight pants.
Yeah.
Any excuse for David Tennant to be with me and be wearing tight pants, I'm on board.
But yeah, that's something that, and I want to say, that was in the original Fright Night too.
Yeah.
And that's something that actually other people have picked up as well.
Oh.
Since then, yeah.
That's so strange.
I feel like,
you can, like, track the timelines.
There's also, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I think there's and I could be wrong because I haven't seen this movie in a really long time, but it was also one of my favorite vampire movies. Starring Jim Carrey, Once Bitten, where Lauren Hutton plays, like, the queen vampire. But I think that's another instance of, like, if you stake her, they will all die. Like, it was just, like, a thing that started in the 80s.
Mm-hmm. There's also a huge variation in vampire lore with regard to how one is made a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
In Dracula, I think in Dracula you have to be bitten, like, 3 times. But in Anne Rice, you have to, like, have all of the blood pulled out of you, and then you have to drink the vampire's blood, and then you're a vampire.
Oh. Which is similar in True Blood and Twilight. It's the swapping of blood.
The swapping of blood. And things get real gross in some of those things.
Yeah.
Some of those, there's menstrual blood included, and it's unfortunate.
Oh,
But there's a lot of variation in that, and I think that's comes back to that idea of Dracula being defining, but not the only. You know,
because there's somewhere like if the vampire drinks all of the blood, they've killed the person. Or they have to bite them once and sort of like restrain themselves.
Yeah. The entire final chapter of the first book of Twilight is basically what you're talking
about. Oh, really?
Our blood
No!
is so delicious that he has to restrain himself from consuming her.
Oh, God.
It's really bad. It's just a bad series that I've read twice in a row, so.
I watched the first movie and was just like, really glad that I was with one of my friends and we were drinking and we were just like, what?
Yeah.
I have really big plans on watching those movies sometime drunk, and that's about it. That's about as far as we go.
They have riff tracks, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, they do.
So
I have not watched them.
I'll watch those.
Yeah.
Gladly.
I would definitely.
Has anybody here? This conversation has just sort of devolved to vampire chat, but that's fine.
We can get back on track. We can. They like it. They like it.
Aaron can
want
edit
to hear.
Has anybody here ever written? Read? Bite Me by Christopher Moore, who wrote Lamb.
No, but I really want to.
Oh, girl, it's great, and it's like I think it's very much like a satire of the modern vampire story. You know, you've got sort of the same sort of like. She becomes a vampire and he falls in love with her, but he's a human. Oh no!
Yeah.
But it's like it's a lot more casual. He falls in love with her and they move in together. She's like, all right, fine, but you have to buy the toilet paper because I don't use that shit. You know? And like it's just really because that's what Christopher Moore does. Is he writes satire and comedy, and usually about 3/4 of the way through the book, something completely psychopathic happens. And the whole thing changes. But, it's a good read. Go. So what else?
Jess?
We can start talking about adaptations if we're done talking about vampires. I'm ready.
Oh, man. I just want to say, for the record, the Bram Stoker Dracula pinball is pretty great, too.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Are you a pinball wizard?
I'm not a wizard. I like pinball a lot.
Yeah.
I'm an amateur competitive pinball player.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Boy, that's a thing.
That is a thing.
I'm sure you're great.
All right.
Okay. Other things about vampires. Other things about vampire mythos. What questions do you have?
Oh, I have a question.
Yeah.
This is just another weird vampire thing where sometimes it's in there and sometimes it's not silver. Where the heck did that come from?
Werewolves.
Really?
Yeah, it's just a connecting thought. It's not actually a vampire mythos
because,
at all.
Yeah, especially since, and I think it got there mostly from the idea that, like, there's that part in Dracula where when he gets to the boat, and he's, like, wolf-like.
Yeah, he can transform into a wolf, so there's a connecting thought.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, does it explain in Dracula where the idea of garlic actually comes from?
Yeah, that's a good,
So the thing about garlic is that,
it's delicious.
I really love cooking.
it's great in pasta. Now, I don't know, I've heard a lot of different things about this, so jump in. But, I know in the book that Von Helsing sort of decorates Lucy's apartment with garlic, but I've also heard that the point of the garlic thing, because the peasants talk about it when John first goes to Transylvania, it's to eat it, not to have it around you, but to have it in your bloodstream. And that will make your blood
that
delicious.
exists in, I know at least True Blood, and I want to say Buffy, but I could be mixing up my vampire lore right now.
Yeah.
They ask Bill asks Sookie not to eat garlic, so he can. Moving
Gross.
In the book, when they kill Lucy, they stuff her mouth full of garlic and then they stake her. So it's one of those, like, yeah, I think there's a part where, is it Van Helsing and the Scooters, like, when they go to put the garlic in her apartment. In her really sweet little flat. They put, like, a whole bunch of different, I forget what they call them, but, like, tchotchkes, for lack of a better word. But yeah, no.
Well, it kind of comes back to what we were talking about earlier, where, like, if we're gonna go to a vampire battle, we're gonna bring everything with us.
Yeah.
That's more or less how Van Helsing approaches protecting Lucy. It's like, I don't know what will work. Here's some garlic. Here's some crucifixion. I got this.
This is good. Exactly.
Well, even like, I don't know, this is mega spoiler alert. When they do finally kill Dracula, or try to kill him, or I think they're successful.
I mean, he turns into ash.
Yeah.
So.
They slit his throat, and then they don't. Do they actually stake him? Because I'm pretty sure they just like keep stabbing him.
He gets stabbed with a Bowie knife, and he gets slit across
One of
the
those
throat.
like awesome pirate crooked knives.
Bowie knife. Bowie knife. It's done now. Keep going.
Do it.
Which is why the good Lord made Quincy.
Yes.
Quincy. So yeah, Aaron actually was talking to me about that the other day because we were sort of talking about how in his adaptation the end is a little
Needs some punching up.
a little anticlimactic. But the thing is, it's not his fault. That's what's in the book.
Yeah.
He hasn't changed anything.
Yeah.
It's just he just wrote what's in the book. But and then Dracula dies, and the audiences for the past 100 years went, what? Wait, what? Did I miss something? Didn't there need to be like a stake and like cutting off of heads happening somewhere? I was
Or
told
like,
there was going to be
he's
a
dead. Oh, he's alive.
Right.
He's dead. Oh, wait, no, he's not. Like, that would be...
Right, like
Yeah.
something. And it's kind of hard to reconcile, and I think I broke one of my many rules as a person who feels based on my feelings about adaptations, and I said maybe that's the point at which you should take some artistic license.
Yeah.
And if the Dracula purists are mad, then we'll deal with that when it comes. You know?
Are they, like, organized? Are they all coming to the theater?
I'm pretty sure that they're 12 years old, and so the reading's in a bar, and we won't be fine.
Okay.
Why isn't then Dracula sparkling?
Why isn't there glitter? I'm really mad. This sucks.
So that's an interesting segue, at least, into talking about adaptations and talking about taking artistic license. When we started talking about supporting this process, it spurred quite a few conversations about adaptations between Aaron and myself and the rest of the members of the board. And what constitutes a good one? What's an ideal adaptation? What does everybody think about this? Does anybody have a favorite adaptation or really strong opinions about adaptations?
I have a lot of opinions about adaptations.
Okay, well, go ahead.
But I mean, I feel like there are. I don't know per se what my favorite adaptation of Dracula is.
Well, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be adaptation of Dracula, but an adaptation in general. Is there, what makes a good adaptation good? What makes a bad adaptation bad?
Right. Now, I think it's important to stick at least with the main structure and skeleton of what it is that you're adapting. There are going to be certain things that don't work or, just won't translate correctly.
Because of, time period and what people...
And modern perception.
Yeah, and general source material, like Aaron was saying, this is all kind of journaled out, and you can't just have people reading a journal. I mean, I guess you could, but it would be very boring for the audience. But there are certain things that people are going to expect, and as long as you, and I feel like I get in a lot of arguments about adaptations because I don't like most of them. But I'm willing to give them a chance just so that I feel like if you don't watch something and you just start complaining about it, you have absolutely no basis to be like, oh, I can't believe this is happening. This is crap. It's not fair.
Right.
But when someone who is truly a fan of what they're adapting is working